Many thanks, Ibrahim Bello Gunda, for that background report on emerging party politics. Now, joining us here in the studio for that conversation, first let me introduce Dr. George Abakahi, who is a public policy analyst and also the Southeast leader of the Tinubu support group, ILEN. A pleasure to welcome you.
Yeah, thank you very much. God bless.
We also have here in the studio Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu, who is a political scientist. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Claire.
All right, we also have here with us Honorable Cletus Obun. He's a scholar, public affairs analyst, former parliamentarian, former Cross River State Chairman, Action Congress of Nigeria, ACN, and a member 2023 APC Presidential Campaign Council Public Affairs Committee. And we're very glad to have Honorable Cletus Obun with us.
May God bless Nigeria.
I like that.
All right, let's begin the conversation. Let me start with Dr. George Abakahi. And I would like to just ask, in your view, what's the frequency of defections in Nigeria, may say about the strength or, weakness of political party ideology or democracy? What does all of this mean?
Thank you again for having me. I believe political coalition and defections are characteristics of a democratic system. It's not new in Nigeria, and it's something that is related to overseas countries. I remember vividly President Donald Trump, who is a Republican, current president of America, was once a Democrat. He was a Democrat in 2001 and left the Democratic Party in 2009 after President Barack Obama was elected. Joe Lieberman, a Democrat, left the Democratic Party in 2006 and became an independent. But very recently, Senator Joe Manchin, a prominent Democratic senator, left the Democratic Party after the selection of Kamala Harris as the presidential candidate of the Democratic Party, in 2023 or 2024. So that is what is happening. It is not new. I'm very much concerned when people of other political parties are enraged that the Delta State governor, as well as the former vice presidential candidate to Atiku Abubakar, had moved to the APC. It is a natural phenomenon. It happens both in Nigeria and overseas. After all,
and of course, there will always be people on both sides, whether for and anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
There will be people who
even currently as we speak, the Labour Party candidate, governorship candidate in Enugu State, Chijioke Edoga, has recently joined the PDP.
Yeah, but what does it say about, ideology, party ideology? Does it show that the ideologies are, just thinly divided?
In Nigerian politics, I'm sorry to say there is a little bit less of ideology. It all depends on interest, both community interest and personal interest. And in my own opinion, I see the defection of the governorship of the current governor of Delta State, as well as the former vice president to APC. I see it as a strong validation, and in fact, profound authentication of the renewed, reforms, renewed agenda of the current administration. Right. And also, I see it as a display, of trust, by the governor of Delta State in the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and this shows that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu may win this election, even in a landslide, if it continues to go this way. Go to Kano State, NMPP stronghold. Very prominent senators, like Senator Shamala, is almost leaving, joining the APC. The only House of Rep member of NMPP in Jigawa State, the only one, I think Honorable Jamala also, he has left and joined APC. So that is what we are seeing.
Dr. Kwai, thank you. Let's put you on hold because you were here last time when we started this conversation. You talked about Lieberman, who left in the U.S. and defections in the U.S. Also know that Lieberman left for an independent party. He didn't leave from
the party as an independent.
To stand alone. And even those who left didn't join other parties, and all that. So there's a difference between defections in the U.S. where you've talked and what were happening. So let me start before we bring in the Honorable Cletus, who's also a politician. Let me have Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu's perspective. Defection, as far as I became politically aware, has been part of our political, culture. But what are your readings? Have we seen genuine interest? On the part of politicians to realign in the national interest, or are we just saying defections for survival?
Well, I think in our own climb, mostly is defection for survival. It is always driven by mostly personal interest because the stakes in politics are so high. And you find a very brilliant surgeon leaving his callings to join politics. This is not peculiar to Nigeria, it's happening all over Africa. You see, the difference between Democrat and Republican is like what we have between Labour Party and Conservative Party in the United Kingdom. The Republican, as you know, they are tilted towards this white supremacy. The preservation of the privileges that slavery conferred on the white majority in America. And they are not willing to make sacrifices to better the poor. And the poor are the children and the great-grandchildren of the slaves. So whether we like it or not, there is disparity in terms of education, in terms of wealth, in terms of access to position, and so on and so forth. So Democrats naturally were coalition of the deprived, the downtrodden, those that are sympathetic to their cause.
And those you call activists?
Yes, they're activists. But again, with time, this very particular distinction is blurring because of the aristocracy that has emerged within that very particular rank. So when you see somebody moving from Democratic Party to Republican, you know what that person stands for. Likewise, if there's a movement to the Democratic Party from Republican, you know what they stand for, because they're always pro-immigration, pro-poor tax, not the one that Trump is doing now. So, but in our own case, we don't see that difference. In fact, the parties are not based on any ideology. We said PDP must go, and that we needed a change. And you know, in northern Nigeria, the way they put it, change dole, as in change by force, by fire. And then APC came on board. The same people we chased away in PDP returned to APC, and they were given appointment and the whole thing. So it's just like Animal Farm, when George Orwell was saying, at the end of the battle, we don't even know which is which, whether it is whether the animals have turned to human beings or human beings, because they chase away human beings that they are cruel and that they are wicked, and that the animals need to manage their own resources. But at the end of the day, the animals did worse to themselves than what human beings were doing to them, that they chased them out of the farm. So in this case, you find, because I see it as even a betrayal for somebody to defect after you convince people based on their reality to say they should vote you. And they vote you, and there is no any way you consulted these people, and all of a sudden it is announced that you defected. They gave you a mandate.
What is the difference between, in terms of value, between political realignment
Yes.
and defection?
You see, political...
Because you say it's not realignment.
There is a thin line. There is a thin line. Because the defections are both ways. There are those that are defecting, there are those that are joining the emerging coalition. There are those that are joining the ruling party. There are those that are, for instance, PDP made it clear that they are not into any coalition. They want to stand alone. So you have people that are defecting to PDP. Then you have people that are leaving PDP, Labour, and the ruling party to join the coalition. And those are the people that some of the APC sympathizers are saying that they lost out because the president never appointed them into his government. And that is why they are leaving the party to join the opposition, that is the emerging coalition. Now, defection simply means that you are given a mandate by your people under a political party to represent them, and then you decided to leave that party to another party with that mandate that was given to you under PDP or under APC or under Labour or under SDP. Now, realignment simply means that the elites have decided to work out another platform different from the ruling party and any other platform that they feel does not guarantee their interests. If you look at it, Senator Kwankwaso is still in ANPP, right? NNPP. Now, if you look at what happened, the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir Rufai, was quick to go to SDP from APC. Now, with what happened in before 2015 election, politicians realized that if you are going into any coalition talk, you need to go under a party. And if you go under a party, you have the chance of being recognized and the merger will take on board your interests. Because that was what happened between CPC, ACN, and when former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, decided to join using the platform of ABGA, the leadership of ABGA dissociated themselves, saying that they are not part of any merger, they want to stand alone. And he joined as a person. So in terms of power sharing, what was given to ACN, the ACN bloc that Ashwaju led at that point in time, and the CPC that Muhammadu Buhari led, was more than what Rochas Okorocha got as a person, because he went as a person.
Was that a political alignment?
That is political alignment.
Okay, let me hold you. Honorable Cletus, what's your understanding? You know, defection, political alignment. What are you reading from what is happening?
I think there's a shuffling for political emancipation. Our democracy is evolving, but some people are making these transformations look like a transmogrification from the bad to the ugly. On the contrary, it is a refinement of our political system. If that didn't happen, 2015 wouldn't have happened. When it was happening in Ghana, you said it was a small democracy. But it's a deep-rooted democracy, Ghana. So when it came to Nigeria, and Ashwaju led us into that coalition between AD and ACD. AD contested the 1999 election. There was nothing like ACD. ACD was a new formation because party formation is allowed at any time, any day before now. So ACD, Advanced Congress of Democrats, led by Alexis Anielo, who was SDP National Secretary in 1991-92, came into that coalition. So it's not a recent thing. So our evolution is on the contrary maturing, and we are seeing a deeper ideological positioning of Nigerian political class. It is a development that should be encouraged. But what we won't accept as Democrats is to drift to a one-party state. Nobody should delude you. I know Ashwaju. I have been part of the entire political permutation from 1999.
What's the ideology that is evolving? Because
One is that when ACD and AD came together, their ideology was welfarist. He was talking about the Democrats and the Republicans. We are quick to go and compare with America. That's over 200 years as a democracy. Those Democrats are talking about, it took them 101 years to produce their first president. The Labour Party in the UK, it took them nearly the same period for them to produce their first prime minister. So you can then know that democracy is not a turnkey technology. It's a process that goes through all kinds of things. So where we are now in Nigeria is that we are tinkering with all kinds of ideas. So when people move from one place to the other, because of our emotional attachment to certain political persons and personages and the cleavages of ethnicity and religion, we start drifting towards. When Ayade, for example, of Cross River State moved into 2022, the hoopla was not as much because he was not seen to be as popular. But in the South, the states of Delta, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, are the oil wells of Nigeria, the arteries upon which Nigeria's economy feeds. So a movement of those areas, a cough in those areas brings quakes and shivers to the Nigerian political class, because they know that for them to make anything in politics, they need the oil wells. So anything happening there affects the entire country. So that is why Delta is looking as if it is some anathema, some kind of, it is, nobody is interested in where, take away that man from Delta State and put him in Jigawa. You won't hear this gale, this hoopla, this entire opera. It's about what will happen to PDP without the oil wells and oil money from Delta to sponsor elections in other states. That's all that is going on. Otherwise, politically speaking, democratically speaking, Nigeria is on the march to a consolidation of democracy, advancement of democratic ideas and ideology.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sapun. Let's get to the real issues. What does all of this, Dr. Abakahi, mean for the electorate? Because we say democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So realignment, some say it's realignment, some say it's decamping, some say a lot of, there are people on every side. But what does this mean for the ordinary people? Let's begin with Delta, for instance, because it's the most recent.
Well, even though we all see democracy as government of the people, by the people, for the people, in some ways, democracy also depends on the nature of struggle that exists in a particular society. And to me, that's what you see unfolding in Delta State. I remember hearing one of the spokespeople during the defection, former senator manager. He said that it's high time they stop following the sinking ship. If I quoted him correctly, senator manager said it. And the Delta State Commissioner for Works, who also made a statement, talked about development coming from the center. So,
Was there no development coming from the center? Because if you say that, then you probably would be saying that when a party is not at the center, that their people are not taken care of. I don't think that's the case.
But generally speaking, in the Nigerian context, just like we have in other African nations, most states prefer to join the government at the center. This also happened during the Obasanjo regime. Have you forgotten that some parties like PPA, even in Imo State, when Ikedio Hakim won under PPA, that was founded by Ojo Zokalo, at some point they had to join PDP. Because,
a promise kept.
Yes, they joined PDP because they believe they will benefit from the center. It is not unusual. That is a natural phenomenon in Nigerian politics. And that was why Senator Manager made that statement that they will benefit from the center, and that is the reality.
And of course, Senator Manager was the very first PDP state chairman in Delta. I think that was as of 1999. He went on to be senator, commissioner, and variously.
Yeah.
But Dr. Abu Hamisu, what exactly does this mean for the ordinary people? Not for the politicians now.
Yes. Well, I want to say that the era of might translating to electoral victory gradually is dying down in Nigeria. If you look at the outcome of the last general elections, for instance, in Katsina State, it was a battle between the PDP and the APC. They were winning local government by local government. They shared the outcome, local government by local government. Because of one thing, there was no concrete alignment between what the elites are doing and what the masses want. In Nasarawa State, SDP won election. Ordinarily, if it were to be 1999 to 2007, it's going to be PDP all the way, whether they perform or not. So I think we are gradually moving away from incumbency. The politics of we're a moving train. It's either you join us or we crush you. We are going to rule you for 60 years to performance. As of today, it is gratifying that even Mr. President is receiving the heat from the Southwest. His own people are protesting that we are suffering. These are things that you don't ordinarily see before. They will tell you, it is our son, you have to keep quiet. So if I'm from the north and a northerner is the president, however poor I am under that very particular administration, I am required to keep quiet because it's our turn. If it is an Ishakiri man that is the president, and an Ishakiri person is saying that, look, I am not finding it easy under this administration, you are required to keep quiet. Now, Nigerians are saying that the withdrawal of the subsidy, the increment in taxation, the insecurity, all of these are affecting us, irrespective of whether we are from the north or from the south. Now, I am saying that the most decisive factor in the next election will not be politics of defection by the elites because they are searching for greener pasture or they have interest to protect. The only interest ordinary Nigerians have to protect is their ability to feed themselves, feed their families, pay tuition in higher institution for their children, and equally pay school fees, affordable transportation. Now, the challenge is not even farming. The challenge is moving what is produced from the point of production to the market. For instance, a basket of tomatoes could be produced in Kankia local government in Katsina State for just 5,000. Transportation to either Onitsha or to Port Harcourt or to Lagos is about 40,000 naira, making it 45,000 naira. So by the time it gets to the market, it's going to cost like 50,000. This is something that ordinarily before the removal of the subsidy, you can get it for, say, 20,000 naira, plus or minus. Now, these are the factors that people are weighing now. So the political realignment is something on one hand. Once you cannot connect it to the yearnings and aspirations of the people, I bet you nothing was going to work. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. And this is one thing that I want the APC to note.
I like that you used the word political realignment because
Yes.
urban issue, you said there was no political realignment.
No.
But Dr. Hamis Abu, Dr. Hamis
I just said there was a thing like...
yes.
It's a convert.
Yes. help us make sense if you were a chief executive in charge of a whole state and you belong to a particular political party, and your party appear to be in an, position from the center or
Yes.
opposition with the center.
Yes.
And like in the words of Dr. George Abakai,
Yes.
it is part of the sinking ship.
Yes.
You have a responsibility to your people.
Yes.
Would you still remain in that party?
You see, it's not about party per se. It's about the individual.
No, but it's also about connecting to the center to
Yeah,
be able to access infrastructure, access resources for your people.
You see, Madam Claire, let us not confuse the wickedness of some politicians as a natural phenomenon. You
No,
see,
but assuming, that's a hypothetical scenario.
I want to make a
because,
comparison.
Because it is visible.
I want to make a comparison.
Yes.
You see, between 2003 to 2007, Sokoto State was not under PDP, that was under Bafarawa. And the road from Gusau to Sokoto State needed attention. And the federal government refused to do the road. You know what used to happen? The federal government will make sure that they suffocate you so that you don't perform like other states they are controlling. Meaning that next election, voters will rebel against you. That is a bad politics as far as I'm concerned. Now, Bafarawa did that road. Obasanjo refused to pay because it is a federal road needing attention. Now, fast forward, under President Muhammadu Buhari, Governor Wike was in the opposition and he used the state resources to develop the state. And President Muhammadu Buhari paid and thanked the River State government for doing the job that federal government ought to have done, for assisting federal government to do its job. I'm contrasting this to show you one thing, that because Obasanjo was playing these politics that he has just highlighted, so that others will now use it as a justification to align to the center, to say that we need to align because, look, it is a constitutional thing that you need to get social allocation. You need to get this, you need to get that. It's a constitutional thing. That the president is denying states that are in the opposition all of those things that they need to get is an aberration. It's a breach of the constitution. But it's happening in Nigeria. But because it happened, we should not even see it as something normal. We should not see it as something that we need to make reference to as a positive thing. No. We have this.
Sorry to Jack. Let us even face it. Speaking specifically now about Delta State,
yes.
Even the Commissioner for Works,
yes.
and who is also the Commissioner for Information,
yes.
came out to say that, look, yes, we were in the opposition, but we have also seen the gestures made by the center in terms of infrastructure,
yes.
in terms of, amenities and all that,
yes.
that the center had extended,
yes.
this to us.
Yes.
So, it is just to strengthen that,
Can I interject?
No,
yes.
but the question is to me. I said something. I said it all depends on the person. In the sense that, for instance, federal government of Nigeria are taking about 6 dams to Kano State. The government of NNPP has not said it is moving. Now, if Delta State felt that, okay, they needed to align with the center, and they want to align with the center, so be it. But what I'm saying here is that the president using their power to deny people infrastructure simply because they belong to the opposition is wrong.
We have not seen
But
that.
that hasn't
They've
been-
not done
We have
that
not
now.
seen that.
No
We
president
can't
has
confirm
done that.
Honorable-
I said Obasanjo did it.
Hold on.
I gave you-
Hold on.
I gave the example of
Let me
Sokoto
make
State.
this
Hold on.
Let me make
Yes.
this point.
Yes.
I think we are beginning to divert attention from the major issues here. The questions you have raised are very germane, and we have sufficient empirical evidence to show that the constitution have never been breached in that regard. Remember, when Tinubu came, Buhari came into office in 2015. What was his first step? Some states were owing for 18 months salaries to workers. Pension for 2 years to pensioners. What did he call it? Bailout. Did he select the states that were APC?
Thank you.
He gave to every single state.
Yeah.
Every single state money for bailout according to your need. I know some state governments that came out to say thank you.
All right.
Even Wike you are talking about. It was not him that repaired those roads. It was his predecessor. In Cross River, it was the same. It was the predecessor to Ayade that did those roads. Because when Buhari came in, he said they were inflating the roads project and the costings and therefore stopped it. I said the government will go. And what they later did in the second tenure was to now say compensation has been an issue on construction of roads. So states, because those facilities are in your state, this infrastructure in your state, pay the compensation. That's why the Itu Road is a problem to Ikore Pene to Aba. Now, coming back to the present situation, under the Tinubu administration, we are doing the NEL fund, the student loan fund, popularly known. Which state has been excluded on account of the fact that it is not APC? None. In the distribution of reserves or the revenue accruing from the petroleum subsidy. Has any state been, in fact, no governor, and this is the tragedy of our democracy, that everybody is looking at the center. Should there be any excuse about center? When the Section 162 as amended is clear about what should be distributed to the states from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. It is clearly stated in the Constitution that it should be distributed equally to the states. Now, what is accruing from the petroleum subsidy removal is going straight to the states. And no state, the federal government and its information organs have consistently said, we have overloaded the state with so much fund. In fact, I remember my own governor immediately came into office. The first thing he did that every pregnant woman going to hospital will go to hospital free. That WAEC fee will be paid to all students of schooling in Cross River, no matter the state you come from, and all that. Accruing from this excess revenue coming to the states. And in fact, only yesterday, the governor of Akwa Ibom State was talking about what he has recovered from gully erosion in Akwa Ibom State. The land recovered is enough to feed Akwa Ibom State. And all that across the country. Why are citizens, and this is what I expect you, the academics, and those of you who are sitting also in the pulpits, to let our citizens know, citizenship responsibility in a democracy is fundamental. If government is of the people and for the people, what that means is that you must hold your elected and appointed officials accountable. What has happened, and which the media has to up its ante, is making citizens sit up to their responsibilities. You are being told that this is what your governor got this year or this month, and it is on the website of the government, and you use your website to only talk about how Tinubu is not helping the economy, how APC is. Meanwhile, you have been told that from 1.2 billion, your state is now getting 2.5 billion. You are not asking your governor, what are you doing with this money? Local governments are to get a particular because 75% of our population is in the local government. Local government allocation in the past 15 years goes to the state on what they call JAC, Joint Allocation Account. And the state governors hold it and withhold it and give what they like to the state. Meanwhile, when the federal government asks that revenue accruing because it's not going to the local government should be shared on a certain ratio and should go directly, it took the federal government of Tinubu to go to court. Something local governments should do. Something civil society organizations should do. SERAP and others should do. It took the president of Nigeria to go to court against its own subnationals to rescue local governments where the majority of the people stay. The people we are crying about, who should be questioning that? It's not happening. So I want the media, I want us sitting here, and I want all public interest people, all good citizens and patriots to insist that if 1/10 of what is going to the local government is given to them, what we are crying about now, he's talking about farming, he's talking about rural roads. I grew up meeting local government contractors, becoming the richest men around the community and the vicinity and giving scholarships. Local government contractors, today, nobody does, not even a local government chairman can award a contract.
Thank you, Honorable Abu, but I think...
I want to ask a
yes,
question, please. Now, I quite agree with all you've stated, that the Tinubu administration is not excluding anybody, any state, from all that they needed to get, which is my position. Now, why is the governor of Delta State defective?
That is what I want to come to.
They are not
that is what I'm coming
anything.
To. So I'm saying that it is never about coercion from the center. It is about the individual will, which is what I identified.
So no state should be telling us that it is because they want to benefit from the center. I think that's what Dr. Hamid is saying.
That's what I'm also saying.
Now no state should tell us that it is because
precisely
they
what
want
I'm
to benefit
saying.
from the center.
Because the intention, because I'm giving you a second reason. The second reason is that you are being tried by EFCC. Another reason is that the federal government is squeezing people so that they can come and join. He tried to mention it there
I
between
said-
But this
Obasanjo.
is what the government. This is what they say.
say.
When they defect, they say they want to
say-
benefit from the
No,
sanctions.
no,
That's what they say.
I'm talking about the second tangent, the second leg of it, which is that they are being coerced because of EFCC.
No, gentlemen,
What I want you to get clearly, I have not said Tinubu administration is doing that now. I didn't say that. I said that was the practice under PDP. And I gave example of Sokoto State.
Yes.
And I gave example of what Buhari came to do. And I said that is the right thing to do. No state should be denied anything on the account of the fact that.
Never because
No,
there's coercion or
yes.
denial of
Wait,
the-
gentlemen, the point to me, apart from the benefits these states may be getting from the federal government,
Yes.
it's also important to know some of the reasons for this defection
Yes.
to APC
Yes.
are clear. For example, the issue of lack of party cohesion in both PDP and Labour Party
Yes.
is very significant.
Yes.
Go to PDP as of today. They are still fighting for who becomes the national secretary of the party.
You are quite correct.
Go to Labour Party as of today.
Yes.
They are still fighting for who becomes the chairman of the party.
Yes.
They are in courts.
Yes.
That is why you see people defecting because of internal issues,
But the defection,
internal conflicts in the party.
Sorry, Doctor,
I quite agree with you.
the defection is not one way.
It's not.
There are defections
It's all over
going
across.
all over the place. But gentlemen, what I would also like to ask is, because you use the word sinking ship to describe.
That's what they said. It's not. I didn't use that word. That's their
Well,
word.
it's-
He referred
That's their
to
word.
James
Well,
Manager.
James Manager and echoed
Yes.
by you.
Yes.
Echoed by you, because if you don't believe in that, you won't echo it.
Yes.
That's what it's like saying. So you're echoing the sinking ship. And I want to say that, does this mass defection make these other parties irrelevant now? Again, let's start from you, Honorable.
No. I have said it is healthy for Nigeria that we shouldn't drift to a one-party state. And I know that we'll consciously ensure that we don't have a one-party state. If that happens, Nigeria is in trouble.
Yeah.
So for me, what is happening now between realignment and defections, it is only a transformation and, for me, an evolution of part of our political evolution. I have told you here that the Labour Party in UK and the Democrats in America took over 100 years. In fact, they were called communists in America. And because of that, they were kept down. So in Nigeria, what we are doing, just barely 64 years. America is over 200 years. And you can see, only recently, you are naming about 3 persons only recently moving to become independent, others from Labour to Democrats, from Democrats to Republicans, and Republicans to... That is still happening in a 200-year-old democracy. And we all keep citing it as an example. If that is happening, what that tells you is that democracy is an ever-evolving phenomenon that should not be seen as a destination. At all times, humans, must have to adapt to change and situations. And that in Nigeria, for me, is going on now. And we shouldn't be alarmed by it. We should rather encourage it. And if we didn't do that in 2015, we tried in 2011 to do the coalition. Time was, according to the constitution, was not with us. So we left it for 2013. By the time we finished in 2013, the coalition came up and for the first time in Nigerian history, defeated in a national election the sitting government. I'm talking about APC, CPC, the formation of APC came by this same method. If they can do so and come out, when PDP both said that to stay for 60 years, 100 years, APC shouldn't say the same thing. I am not, as an APC faithful, believing that APC should last forever. Nigeria must transform until we solidify into the two-party state that we advocated for SDP, NRC. We are drifting to that. Yeah. That's what all this alignment and realignment is going on. That's what all these defections is going on. But those who are permanent welfarists, socialists in their ideology have remained so. From Tinubu to Buhari, they have never drifted away from that ideological circle of AD to AC to APC. They've never gone to PDP.
What's the ideology?
Exactly. I
I
like
have named it for you. I have named it for you. Welfarist. It is a welfarist. That is why Nel Fund came on. Remember that immediately they brought in the student loan from the Southeast, tried to justify it and say, look, they were being excluded. They said, look at the applications. It was on the portal. You don't need to talk to anybody to get the loan.
Is
And they
this
said
in the party's manifesto? Is
yes.
there a clear...
Yes, defined.
Defined.
In fact, Google it is on your phone by our manifesto. I was part of the campaign team, so I used it.
Yes.
We used it and said, we are going to make student loan fund available. Agric loan available.
Yes.
I believe the
Dr.
people
Hamisi,
that are...
okay. Dr. Hamisi.
Yes, I like what he said. If you are a student of evolution, what he said is quite correct. Society evolve, things evolve just like that. But again, there must be constant. He said it took the Democrat about 101 years to produce the first president. It is because they were consistent. They were not giving up, despite the odds. They were not defecting here and there because they did not...
The ideology was not fluid.
Yes, they did
Like
not. Because we are not winning. So we join the winning train so that we benefit. You know, they kept that ideology alive. You see, let us be very honest with ourselves. Nigeria developed the most when we have 3 dominant parties at the region. The Southwest, that is the beacon of education today, was perpetually in the opposition. They rely on themselves and their people to develop themselves. They never take the easy way that some persons are taking today in the name of they want to benefit from the center. The Mbadiwes, how did they do it? They never say they want to benefit from the center. They rely on themselves. They believe in a certain ideology. The Igbos believe in contributing money to send themselves to school. They were not dependent on government. The apprenticeship system is still subsisting. So how do they do it? Is by relying on themselves that they can do it. So the second issue that we need to look at carefully is this. As you said, the people that have changed the society are people that are consistent, that kept the banner of the struggle alive, not those that chicken out on the road to success. It pains me that we are a people that we don't like making the dinner, but we always love to come to the dinner table and to start condemning the cook that there is too much salt, this is not the... Look, if you really want to build, and that is why I respect people like Senator Musa Akonkoso. The current president, I respect him because of what? There are people that took the opposite path and they midwife it and nurtured it. Without that, we will not even have the change we are asking for. But what we are saying is this. APC was successful not because of the merger. APC was successful because the coalition aligned their slogan and their struggle with the interests of Nigerians that wanted PDP out at all costs. So we're not even asking critical questions. We wanted PDP out and APC was the alternative. And I tell you this, we should write it down. If the emerging coalition is able to align their struggle with what Nigerians are looking for, I bet you APC is on its way out. If APC is able to realign and reconnect with the yearnings and aspirations of the people as it is now, I bet you
it will be entrenched.
It will be entrenched.
Thank you, Dr. Abu
Let's
Hamisi.
yes.
I wanted him...
Let him respond to... He wanted to
respond.
I believe the postulation of one-party state by certain elements, in Nigerian politics is prosperous. Look at what is happening. When El-Rufai, a major player in APC, joined SDP and was rallying with Atiku and some other players to form a coalition to unseat the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, nobody was shouting. Everybody was quiet. But now, a major player in PDP is defecting to APC, and there is uproar everywhere. And it's now going to be a one-party state. See, it's not going to be a one-party state. See, President Tinubu is doing well so far, and he's going to win this election based on his accomplishment. I heard you pretty well when you said that the next election in 2027 will be predicated on stomach infrastructure.
No, I didn't say
No, he didn't use that word.
No, you said that.
didn't use it.
You said that the election will definitely be based on how people will be feeding themselves. Is it not what you said?
No. I said that people are complaining that they are suffering under this government because
Okay,
of the
now
policies.
let me
Excuse
finish.
I said
No,
because
I've
of the
heard that.
policies.
I've heard you said that.
Yes.
Okay, now people are complaining
Yes.
that things are hard.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But let me tell you this. Mind you, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board
Yes.
and obliterated, the exchange rate to single exchange rate, as well as the removal of the oil subsidy.
Yes.
We all know in Nigeria that removal of this subsidy and extrication of the exchange rate should have been done since 1999. Obasanjo knew very well, Yar'Adua knew, President Jonathan knew, but they didn't have the courage to do this. Now, President Tinubu came on board and had the courage to remove all these subsidies that were being benefited by few members of our society. When the subsidy was in play, it was only few Nigerians that were benefiting. Now he came on board and removed this.
Dr.
And he
Bakar.
has, yes.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
have issue
I
with
have
legal
to.
removal.
I have to interject. I'm sorry, gentlemen, because this is not a conversation about one person or
Yes.
one party.
Yeah.
This is a conversation about emerging party
Emerging party,
politics.
yes.
So we must expand
Yeah,
the conversation
the
away
conversation,
from one
yes.
political party.
Yes.
But we've got some messages, and I'd like to take this one from Francis Luca. And Francis has sent in this message from Jos. He says, defection is not a new thing in this country. The leadership is in cycle. We revolve around same axis. True change can only come when this cycle is gone, and this can be possible if citizens understand that we are the power and we use it to better ourselves as a whole. Alamba Francis Luca from Jos. And the OC from Abakaliki says, it's greed and insatiability that make our leaders to defect from parties that gave them mandates to represent them. Truly, they are not doing well. My name is Magun Abednego from Jos Plateau State. The issue of defection at hand in Nigerian politics today is as a result of crises that linger for long without solution. You should expect members will defect to peaceful parties and where their interests will be respected. Now, finally, from me, Joseph Ekezwe from Delta. The idea of defection is not for the state to benefit from federal. Rather, it's for their personal and political interests and nothing more. I know you have some more.
Well, I know most of the issues we have addressed earlier on in the program.
I think you should read them.
Muhammad Awal Musa Afamai from Kano says, what happens to political party ideology in Nigeria? And he says, good morning, Nigeria. My name is Michael from Abakaliki. In developed countries, defection is about ideology, but in Nigeria, defection is about the stomach. Okay? And the truth is that Nigerian politicians do defect to the party of the day because of personal gains and selfish interests, no name. And finally, God bless you for speaking to the truth, Dr. Abu. You are on the right track of the view by not being biased. Well, I don't know, no name too.
Well, can I make a point?
That's anonymous.
Let me make the point here. We must be good students
You
of
will,
political history.
you will do that. We need to take a break. We need to pay.
Okay.
Yes. So please don't go away. This is Good Morning Nigeria. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Good Morning Nigeria, and we're looking at emerging party politics. Before we went on break, Honorable Cletus Obum was about to speak. You have the floor now, Honorable
Yes, because thoughts of this nature, I want us to get back to our political history and get the records straight so that we can analyze them. It is not about knowing the fact. It is about interpreting them in context. Between 1999 and today, defections have occurred in and out of ruling parties. We're just talking about Nasir El-Rufai now. What will you say is his reason? Greener pasture in SDP? Is he looking for greener pasture? When people talk about stomach infrastructure, it's about this. They do not put things in context. People have ideological standing. They have convictions. They have interests to protect. Just that when we talk at the national stage, we are dealing with national interest. But people who take personal interest and interpret it as national interest, at other times, we take national interest even to a personal level to which they can make sacrifices. So you find people like El-Rufai, the first beneficiary of the coalition of APC. Most of those who benefited from the coalition in 2015 became governors for 8 years and turn around to say they didn't benefit and therefore that's a reason for them to leave. At that point, and they are not leaving opposition to APC. They are leaving APC, a sitting government, to another party. Will you also say stomach infrastructure? No. Two, you come back to the issue of those who have been consistent or not consistent and in Nigeria people jump ship. At all times between 1991, SDP, NRC, till today when you say there's no ideology, it's not true. It is that the dilution and the quantum and the statistics of those who have been consistent is so little. So we don't find it. It is only growing now because people like Tinubu have been thrown up. Between 1991 and today, they've never shifted from that ideological bent of welfarism, of expanding the democratic space.
Can you give us an example of those that you have mentioned that have defected from one party to the other, that things have changed for the better?
Yes. Lagos. Tinubu has been consistent with developing a welfare society, and Lagos is a perfect and classic example of how to develop a democracy because...
But President Tinubu never defected.
This is the point I'm saying.
She's
that
talking of defection.
Yes, I'm talking about those who have defected and things became better. I look at Cross River, for example. The governor of Cross River State, a sitting governor, left PDP to APC. Ever since then, our state politics, the violence in Cross River State, nosedived. Between Calabar South, a Tung local government, and others, the violence there was so heavy. Our infrastructure was so horrible that what we didn't have was a roadmap for development. What we got now, as we say, you can see our present governor now going back to what he didn't do as a PDP governor, Amin Ayade, and now the present governor.
Would that mean that the federal government is now giving him more money, or the federal government is building the roads for Cross River State?
Again, you are going back to the very issue we talked about. That you shouldn't be giving us the excuse that it's because you now feel.
But you are saying things have become better simply because
of the persons and the individuals that are operating within. You say, how did the situation improve? And I'm showing you how it has improved. A combination of the national forces and the state forces. No matter what is given, I've given you an example now, how people get money from the federal government.
That's one state.
I'm not even using it. I'll give you others now. You say we should give you an example. I'm giving you one. It is no longer convenient. I'll give you a second one. The second one is Benue State. Akume left a sitting governor of Benue State to ACN. I was part of those who received him. And from that day till today, Benue State has never been the same. Third, if you want a third one, I'll give you.
In what regards do you say Benue State has not been the same?
One, their political stability. Let me tell you, if there's no political stability, there will be no development.
Is there really political stability in Benue?
Presently. I'm not talking about insecurity now. You are dealing with a different matter completely, which is external to the government. It's external to the government. It's not within their purview to control state security. As chief security officers, you are still beholden to even the commissioner of police, not to talk about the IG.
That's another matter.
That's another matter. What I'm discussing here is that defections, in some circumstances, have improved the condition of the people. At another level, it has become an albatross for the community.
All right.
So it is not a one-way traffic.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amisu. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Yeah. Let's not pretend that this whole thing is not about 2027. Yeah. Let's not pretend. Yeah. So in what ways will this realignment, I think we can use that word now, yes. How is it likely to impact the 2027 election? Now, when I listened to Honorable Obu talking about, how the states have become better, and I look at Delta because I have a fair understanding of Delta. Yeah. I have worked in Delta. So, I look at the pie has become smaller, because everybody is now put together. Those who left PDP for the APC left it because, well, they needed to get something that they weren't getting here. Yeah. And now, the state government has not grown bigger. It is still the same state government. How all the interests are going to be satisfied such that everybody is peaceful and quiet is something you will need to, look out for. But how does all of this impact the 2027 election?
Well, let me use the opportunity to advise Mr. President and those around him. I hope they will not make the same mistake the handlers of President Jonathan made. You see, Gandhi said, truth, in fact, used to go through 3 different stages. First, it is scorned and laughed at. The second, it is ignored. The second stage, it is ignored, that it doesn't exist. Don't worry. And before you realize it, it becomes a tiger. Then you fight it. But by then it will be too late. People are talking. People are saying we are not finding it is easy. And we are celebrating defection of people that even in their own constituencies, they may not win election. Now, what that will do for the emerging coalition, because they are waiting. As you said, the stake is getting higher and the pie is getting smaller. So they will shape out. And naturally, the emerging coalition will harvest those interests that they are not able to take care of. And before you know it, the coalition will be expanding. And before you know it, the same template that APC used to dethrone PDP will be the same thing that will be used. And I said something. APC capitalize on the moment and start speaking the language of Nigerians, positioning itself as a savior of Nigerians. And then Nigerians agree with them. But they needed to weaken PDP the most. And that is when the 5 governors defected and put a nail through the coffin because of what you said. So if Mr. President is a student of history and those around him are students of history, they should know that naturally people will come together. Those that are aggrieved, those that genuinely want to salvage the country, those that feel they were betrayed, those that felt that they were stabbed at the back will all come together. As you said, naturally, this will happen in a democracy and nobody can stop it. But to pretend that this is not happening and that it's not about 2027, that it is about because we lost out or because of this or because we hate or that South must continue or the North must take over. Look, that is not the issue. The issue
is there even any hope for this consolidation that you talk about,
yes,
given that consolidation talks among opposition parties have consistently failed?
Yes.
Do we see any hope for the emergence of probably any third force that could probably capitalize on the issues that you have raised?
Yes.
Okay, in my own view, the current coalition that is ongoing wants to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The APC.
Yes. To me, it is not working. El-Rufai, Atiku, they are making frantic efforts to build a coalition. But unfortunately, it is not working so far. But the significance of these defections in Delta is enormous. Mind you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was able to get close to about 40-something to 50% of the northern votes in the last election.
Why do you think that the coalition talks between the SDP and Atiku is not working? What gives you? You are not a member of that party. You are not a member of that party. You are not a member of that coalition. So how do you know that it is not working?
Well, it is based on the fact that, mind you, the top political players El-Rufai has approached to join the coalition are not joining. Saraki said it openly that he's not joining.
That they will rebuild the PDP.
Yes, he's
But we
not.
are 60 years away.
Exactly. And no. The truth is this: even if the Northern Coalition gets into play, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and APC are making very significant incursion in the South-South and the Southeast, and of course the North Central, then there is a problem for El-Rufai and Atiku. And you know, this lack of internal cohesion in PDP is a critical factor. Let's just be clear. Let's be very clear about this. PDP is like a failed party. So long as Wike is there controlling the party apparatus. Wike controls the chairman of the party. Wike controls the national secretary of the party. Mind you, in PDP currently, the board of trustees, which is supposed to be the soul of the party, they are divided. Some are siding Wike, some are siding Atiku.
Yes,
So that's the problem.
How do you know all of these?
Yes, how do you mean as long as Wike is there controlling? Can you be specific? Can you come out so that we understand?
What I mean is this. It is common knowledge that in PDP today, the two major actors are Atiku Abubakar and FCT Minister Wike. They are the two actors. Both of them are controlling what is going on in PDP. That is the reality. That is why Atiku and his co-actors wants to extricate the chairman of the party. Even to the extent that Wabara, who is the board of trustee chairman, is also trying to side them. But up till today, they've not been able to remove the chairman of the party. They've not been able to remove the national secretary of the party. So the reality is that Wike is very strong person in PDP. That is the truth. Just very recently, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, 9 members of the Rivers State House of the National Assembly from Rivers State, they've all joined APC. So that is what you see happening. The permutations have changed considerably in the 2027 election. So if El-Rufai and Atiku are able to form a coalition and APC is entrenched in the South-South, Southeast, and North Central, APC may still win the presidency without getting majority of the vote in the Northwest.
So in essence, PDP is unable to reinvent itself.
That is exactly what is happening. Look at it. Okay, go. They have a meeting today. PDP has a meeting. PDP has a meeting today.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
Anyam will say he's going.
Yes. Sorry.
Today, say he's going.
Let me tell you this.
Yes.
We are dealing with parties, politics, and our own present situation in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And let me give you this. Peacock, it was Peacock, a poet and philosopher of the 17th century, said that human cycles move in 3 stages. It begins as brass, graduates to silver, and then comes as gold, and then returns to brass. The reason is because you must reach your apogee, the height of your own career or whatever, and decompose back for you to reinvent yourself. PDP is at the point of decomposition. So to reinvent itself is not something it does in 8 years after leaving office of 16 years. So also I'm warning, which is the warning he gave. APC should not delude itself that to stay forever. The forces, the centrifugal and centripetal forces that attenuate every political system is going to affect APC as it moves on. So the only thing it can do is to learn the lessons of the heroes past, which is what PDP suffered. The arrogance of power. Of thinking that when you marry a new wife, you must disgrace the old wife, which is something that APC is fond of doing. Its reward system, the maintenance of those who built the pillars of the party at the beginning is going to be one of its biggest albatross in the formation and in the years to come. A situation in which Foundation members are ignored, and the new members are treated as new wives who should be treated as the best that can happen to them.
Yeah.
So PDP did it, got lost. APC is starting the same process. And this is, I'm a member, I'm a foundation member of APC, so I can speak audaciously to anybody. My life does not depend on partisan politics. I'm not a traditional politician, I'm an academic. So I can return to any university in the world to teach. So what I'm saying to APC today, as a foundation member, I've been a parliamentarian, not under APC. It was in 1999. So APC didn't make me, I made APC. So I'm trying to make the point that APC, all political parties, PDP is going through it, SDP and Labour Party are even putting themselves in a more devastating position, because before they can even take the first step, they're already deteriorating.
Let us look at NNPP.
NNPP.
Yes. Has it also picked?
Abga.
Has it also picked?
Pardon?
Has it also picked? Has it also...
No, it has not started. Now, SDP, they are in the same class.
NNPP. Yes, and the Kwankwaso factor.
Yes. You see, we used to say it politically that for every presidential election, if you want to win an election, 3 states are very key. Though others are key, but where you have the largest population, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kano. If you win these 3 states in terms of population, all you need is just the spread. And that was why the contestation was brutal in these 3 states. You remember what happened between Labour and APC in Lagos State? To the extent that masquerade were even involved in the voting. In Port Harcourt, you saw the massive...
Rivers.
In Rivers, I mean, you saw what happened there. In Kano, the previous election was inconclusive. And the Konkoso movement, that is Konkosia, convinced themselves, just the way the blacks were doing, because they know they will rig them during Boxing days, those days, during Muhammad Ali. They give you knockout so that there will be no room for rigging. So they went back, re-strategized, and they ensure that, okay, though we know the politics that happened there, but ANPP is still holding forth, and they are still... NNPP, sorry, I don't know why I'm stuck in 1999.
Okay, just because we have just a few minutes.
So, yeah, the permutation is on, but as I rightly pointed out, before 2015, nobody ever believed that Atiku would join the coalition of President Muhammadu Buhari and Bola Tinubu. Nobody even gave them a chance that Muhammadu Buhari and Bola Tinubu from Southwest and from Daura can work together. But before we knew it, most of the persons that you think will not join that coalition because of one grievances or the other. Now, if the rumor is anything to go by, the CPC bloc, some of them are threatening to break away because they are not rewarded. They felt that people that were outside when the party was being formed are the people that this government has rewarded. Now, if interest is key, I tell you, politicians don't give a damn. They follow their interest. And if they feel that is in the coalition, they will go for it. If Konkoso decide to join
exactly, APC, I was coming to that. If he decides to defect,
yes,
will that spring up another...
To join APC today, I will not be surprised. You know why? Because if people like El Rufai were in APC before, and let's say after the completion of Mr. President 8 years, perhaps if he wins in 2027, then the next presidency will come from the north, right? Now, if he decides to join, then we will say, okay, he's projecting, he wants to join, so that by the time Mr. President will complete his term, he will naturally be in a position to aspire under APC, because he feels that he will get close to the presidency through APC. That President Tinubu did the same thing. If President Tinubu had not been consistent and coming into that coalition, there was never a time he was going to become the president of Nigeria through PDP. But he feels he can achieve it through APC. And he was patient for 8 years. And he was able to do that. So, no, I'm talking about when the coalition won election in 2015. So he was patient.
Dr. Waka, we'll take you just 60 seconds, yes, before we take over.
On a personal note, I believe this coalition succeeding is ill-conceived. Is ill-conceived. I don't think that Kwankwaso will join the PDP. If you consider the political reality in Kano State, some of these House of Rep members, they have 18 House of Rep members in NNPP. Few of them have already joined APC. They have 2 senators. NNPP in Kano. One of them has joined APC. And like I said earlier, the only House of Rep member in Jigawa, NNPP, has joined APC. So I think...
Don't forget that Kwankwaso came second to Buhari in the 2015 primaries in Lagos. I voted.
No.
So, Kwankwaso is more likely to run APC than PDP.
The point Doctor made, which I believe is a valid point. Kwankwaso, at some point, would want to be the president of this country. And he can become the president of this country through an APC platform.
Really?
And not a PDP platform. Yes.
Why not?
No,
Why
PDP
not?
No,
is
if
almost
you check the
irredeemable.
political reality.
PDP is almost
If you
irredeemable.
check the political reality.
Unfortunately,
Not
we
out
are
of
not,
hate.
Yes.
Not out of hate, but the
looking-
reality.
Yeah.
The permutation of Ghana don't favor PDP to resurrect.
Victor, we have
The
we have-
resurrection of
we have-
PDP will
we
be a
have,
miracle. Will be a miracle of the century.
I have wanted, because if we have done all of this without, prescribing some form of reforms, we look to make the political system better. Yeah. So let me take a moment to ask Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu.
Before you do that, Victor, let's quickly take the last set of this. Okay, I'll just start with David Patrick Kaduna. He said, your topic quite exciting. Regards to Dr. Abu for his sincere expressions. My name is Abu Danjuma Ihenuma. The Nigeria politician, like the followers don't have ideology, whether in personal life or public life. And that's why Mr. A can be in PDP in the morning and an APC in the evening. May God protect and help Nigeria. Now, Ifeanyi Abakaleke from Ebonyi State says, politicians migrating to ruling party are doing so for selfish and greedy reasons. They don't have the interests of the masses at heart. And finally, Emmanuel from Onitsha, defection will not change the mind of the electorate. Victor.
All right, I think the issues they are raising are almost the same. My name is Ejiogu Vitus Chibueze from Isu Oro, Imo State. I want to say that our democracy stands at a critical crossroads. In recent times, we have witnessed a disturbing trend, the unrelenting wave of defections by politicians from opposition parties to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Now, these defections are not driven by ideology, conviction, or a genuine desire to serve the people better. Another one from Niger, Uzmeri. Party alliance is a selfish interest of our leaders, a means of deception. Again, going by what is happening now in Nigeria, our leaders are after their interest. Dr. Amisu, you truly understand the nature of merging in the country. The interest of the individual, not for the people. God bless you. And finally, the problem I have with those defectors is that when the table will now be turned to PDP again, they will defect again, and they say they have come back to their home. That's from Hajia, from Edo State. I had wanted to ask Dr. Hamisu if you could prescribe two, let's say, reforms to our party politics, party structure, to stem the tide of defections, incessant defections, and to develop our democracy and the country. What would it be?
What I would choose to say is to advise that political parties across board make it a mandatory obligation that if you defect to any party, you should be on the waiting list for 5 years before you contest any election.
What of appointments?
Even appointment. Because let it be a learning period. Either, if not 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, so that we can observe you, so that it will not be. And that is what is tearing our parties apart, you know. But if you want to contest election, we are not stopping you from political alignment and realignment.
I disagree with Doctor.
We are overshooting. You just have 30 seconds.
I disagree with Doctor.
I
don't think there is anything wrong with political defection. It happens everywhere in the world.
Okay.
I said it earlier that President Trump was once a Democrat,
I said
but he's a
But not the
Republican
way it
president.
happens
I
in our
said
country.
30
We must be
seconds.
truthful.
I'm sorry. We don't have much time. Victor.
Well, we have to let our guests go. Let me begin by thanking Dr. George Abakahi, who is a public policy analyst, as well as the Southeast leader of the Tinubu support group. We thank you very much for your time and your thoughts on
Thank
Good
you
Morning
very much
Nigeria.
for having me.
Let me also thank Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu, an academic and a political analyst. We thank you very much for coming. And finally, but by no means the least, Honorable Cletus Obun, who is a scholar, environmental activist, public affairs analyst, former parliamentarian, former Cross River State Chairman, ACN, and many other caps that he wears. We thank you very much for bringing your experience to bear on our conversation.
But none on set. He doesn't have
May we
All right.
have
Thank you very
a
much.
banner that without stain.
But that's been
right.
Good Morning Nigeria. Thank you so very much for watching. Well, let's do this again tomorrow, and I'll see you then. I am Victor Azo.
Bye-bye.